So this is an episode I've been trying to make for a long time, something I'm kind of excited about, just to share my opinion on this new device, which there are other devices similar to it that are already on the market. But the thing about this device, just like when the iPhone came out, is yes, there were other phones on the market, cell phones, and there were other PDAs on the market. BlackBerry existed, but this one somehow changed the market entirely. So I don't think we're exactly there, but listen to this episode. Let me know what you think. Share in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe.
Left, right.
Hi, this is Jessica, and I'll be guiding you through this meditation.
This is SipTalk. Grab a drink and enjoy.
Across this bill.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. All right, that was an interesting start. We were about double time there.
Yeah, Eurobeat.
It sounded like a European DJ. Welcome to Sip Talk. My name is Justin DiGiulio. In my office in New Jersey, no longer the basement, joined by James, the Boswell, philosopher, philanderer, philanthropist, philatelist out of Charleston, South Carolina, with a black light in his bathroom behind him. Got some new scenes for both of us here. How's it hanging down there in sunny South Carolina?
It's fine down here, man. Yeah, I wanted the bathroom to more closely resemble an active crime scene.
Oh, I can only imagine the crime that goes on. And I want to thank Rash Galeb for here in the flanks here, feeding us your live comments on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, and TikTok.
You know what gave me the idea for the blacklight? Actually, this is a throwback.
Let me
Remember
guess,
Voodoo?
1996?
No, remember Voodoo?
Spencer's in the mall in 1990. Yes, I remember Voodoo. I remember
Voodoo had a black light in the men's
Voodoo,
bathroom.
for context, Voodoo was a tiki bar in Charleston, South Carolina.
No
They had
longer.
black light in the men's bathroom?
Yeah, they had a black light in the men's bathroom.
Yeah, that's strange.
It was, but there were many things that were strange about
There
that.
was many things. It was one of my favorite bars in South Carolina. So that was
It no longer exists, which is a shame.
Yeah, I know. So we got a lot to talk about today. We're going to talk about, to your dismay, we're going to talk a little about the Apple Vision Quest Pro video headset, and then we got some things to talk about the future that is around the corner, what that's going to look like, things we're waiting to happen before we make any important financial moves in our lives.
Yeah.
But you brought up the bar, and this is Sip Talk, so I got to ask you, what are you drinking?
I am sipping on a Westbrook Gosa.
I don't even know what that is, but Goza, is that a beer?
Yes.
Is that a fruity sour beer?
Yes.
Oh, I'm pretty close.
Gosas are like kind of like a half sour beer. They're very light. So like a full sour beer can be kind of heavy, but it really hits you in the face with the sour.
Yeah.
Whereas Gosas are more like they're brewed with salt too. So it ends up being lighter, and it is definitely sour, but like it's not like face puckeringly sour. It's just like it has sour notes.
I see. I'll have to pick up one of these. So you're gonna be in New York in a few weeks. Maybe we'll hit a nice liquor store run, pick up some cool beers. Maybe we do a little episode, and we can drink some of those, knock some of those down. I am drinking mezcal. This is something rabbits, 4 rabbits, but it's in Spanish. What is rabbit? Conejo, something like that.
Can't remember rabbit
Conejo.
actually.
Yeah, well, if you, I think Lisa speaks Spanish. Lisa, if you can tell us what rabbit is in Spanish, that would be helpful for this podcast. But it's the rabbit mezcal. It's actually really, really great mezcal. And I've got an IPA over here if I get through that mezcal fast enough, which I'm
You
certain I
probably will. Conejo.
All right. So listen, I was going to do an entire episode all about this Apple Vision Quest Pro. I haven't been able to find the time to just sit in front of the camera and talk about it. Now, I've talked you into participating in this conversation because you're, one, not a fan of Apple whatsoever, and two, you are not a fan of virtual reality, which I am not a fan of, more so of the second. You may be more a fan of the second than I am.
It's not that I'm not a fan of virtual reality. I think that its applications and usefulness are heavily
Negligible.
oversold.
Yeah, there's not much. There's not much usefulness for VR. We got into it in the end of the last episode, and I told you basically very drunkenly that it blew my mind. And I will repeat this thing. It literally knocked my socks off. But before wearing it, the idea of and I've been totally against VR. The Facebook headset, the Meta Quest thing came out. The idea of having a headset over your face, to me, is like walking around the streets in New York City with a ski mask on instead of sunglasses, because you get better functionality through ski masks. You just look like a dork.
Right.
You remember that movie? It was either She's All That or Can't Hardly Wait, and I think it was Seth Green. Something like that. He was a guy, but he wore
Ski goggles.
ski goggles. He wore ski goggles, and it was just a goofy ass thing.
Yeah, but his character was a goofy ass character.
Okay, exactly. But my thing is that, and you see people wearing these the Apple things because they're probably crazy Apple heads around the city. I'm sure you've seen some of these videos on Twitter or something.
Yeah, to me, if I have yet to see somebody wearing those out in public, but if I did, I would be drawing some immediate conclusions about them. Number one is I want attention.
Okay, I agree.
Two, I have nothing interesting about myself to get attention, so I'm going to spend a bunch of money and look like a weirdo in public to get that attention.
I would go with also, my life is very boring. My life is very boring. I feel, I can't just enjoy reality enough. I need something on top of reality. I can't just take a walk down the street. I need to be able to watch a video or do whatever else.
And I say this as a person who, in most circumstances, when I go out into the world, I'm wearing headphones.
But you also, I feel like you embrace technology. You don't have an Apple Watch, but you have a Garmin watch. You like the added benefit of kind of what that's the information that's giving.
Yeah.
You spend a lot of time on a desktop computer, but you're
a lot of time.
You don't have a tablet, right?
No.
And you don't have a cell phone that's very functional. So look,
it's more functional now than it was a year ago.
Well, because you were forced to upgrade.
Yeah.
So look, the idea of wearing this thing out, I think, is insane. However, if it wasn't so goofy looking, I would totally do it. But I like sunglasses.
Why? What does it add?
Well, let me get there. Okay. The sunglasses, I think Ray-Ban has a few. There's some expensive sunglasses they've been having for a while that have the speakers built into the, what do you call this? What's the sticks of sunglasses called? The things that stick over your ears. Whatever those things are called. It's the end of the day, guys. It's been a long day here. But basically, they have the speakers built into the part of the sunglasses that go over your ears. Even those, to me, even though they look a lot more like regular sunglasses, to me, are still too bulky and obnoxious and just over the top.
Well, and the sound quality is going to be crappy. It's it's an invention that nobody needed.
Sure, but some people are going out there because they put sunglasses on, they can listen to music. Of course, then you take your sunglasses off and you don't get to really hear the music.
Right, but the thing, there's been times where I've gone to the store during the daytime and I've worn sunglasses and I've worn headphones over the sunglasses, and it's been fine.
Now, do you wear over-the-ear headphones?
Yes.
Okay, out in public.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't do that.
No, I wear over-the-ear headphones like most often, like when I'm in the grocery store,
Yeah.
and it just allows me to be in my own world while I'm picking stuff off
Yeah.
of
Okay.
shelves.
So you would be that much more open. Trust me. What you're gonna try these things on, and I think you've told me you've tried other VR headsets on, right?
I own one.
Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah. Maybe you should bring it with you when you come visit because I'd really like to try it.
That would
'Cause
be annoying, and it also I doubt that it would be like there
But
would be
for the plane
considerable
ride,
setup problems.
it would be very useful. The only
No, it wouldn't. It wouldn't. It would not run on my laptop.
it runs off your computer.
Yes.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah. Like, and the graphics quality like demands a pretty intensive GPU, which my laptop would just like if my laptop had the
Ah, so
capability
yours
of
hooked to a computer. They use the computer.
yeah, like
Ah.
the number of pixels that my laptop would have to push out would set it on fire. Like my desktop can handle it no problem, but that's because I've got a GPU in my desktop that's half the size of my laptop.
Okay, so let's just tackle one thing about Apple because you do have one. I didn't realize you had one. I thought I remembered you saying something about it, maybe like last year's holiday gift guide.
Yeah, it's an
Uh,
it's an HP. I can't remember the name of it, but it's an HP. It's actually a quality unit. Like the image quality is good. Like everything about it is good. It's just I don't use
well,
it that much.
you have to connect it to a computer also. To be honest with you, I haven't used this thing since probably a week before we talked about it last week. I don't use it either, but it's cool. I think you can maybe see it right over here.
Yeah, but mine it's wired to the computer.
Yeah. So what the thing is about Apple, they don't have the best products. Okay. What they do have is a medium to decent product that generally just works very well, very smoothly. Everything's integrated. You can unpackage a new Apple product and it will sync perfectly, almost instantaneously with every other Apple product that you have. And then you belong in the Apple ecosystem and uh, your life it just kind of works together. So you have an Apple Watch, you have an Apple phone, you have an Apple computer, you have an Apple iPad.
I mean,
Everything
I'll,
just
I'll
works
give
together.
Apple credit to that they've created a design a, a template kind of design that is easily marketable, and their software environment, their hardware and software work well together across various platforms
They
and
don't have the full
products.
functionality that you will have with a PC, but everything works at the level that it does very well together. It's like putting
Yeah,
together a puzzle where all the pieces are the same. And
they make things very simple. So for someone who's not technologically inclined, it would probably be easier for them to use an Apple product than someone who isn't.
well,
But
you and I have
and that's
talked
where I
about
get frustrated because like when I was in Spain with my mom, she had an iPhone and I was trying to like help her with things. And I'm like, I don't understand any of this because like it like where I'm used to looking for settings and stuff, like it's so dumbed down and there are so many
it's very
menus for me
dumbed
to
down.
get to like the technical settings that I need to get to.
Yeah, it's becoming more complex just because the competition is offering a lot of things that Apple hasn't offered. So now Apple is kind of piling all this other stuff on. It's getting more complex, but traditionally they are very simple. And we talked about this before about how the fact that somebody's 3-year-old can use a product isn't because that is a gifted child. It's because the products, and specifically we're talking about like iPads and things like that, specifically because those products are so simple to use.
Yeah,
That's why
the
they're easy.
software engineers and the like actual physical engineers behind the products do a really good job designing them for ease of use.
So listen, so I tried the Facebook MetaQuest uh, headset on a couple Christmases ago. I put this thing on. Instantly, I was like, "Oh, this is like in your face." I'm like, I feel like my face is pressed up against the TV screen. I felt like I had a screen strapped to my face, and looking at the outside world wasn't really great. Like you can kind of see a little bit outside, but it's very clear that you got a screen on your face. Um, and then I did this game and I got like 45 seconds into the game and I was like, I feel freaking dizzy. I can't do this crap. And I pulled it off my head and I was like, this is not for me. And I'm going to pass on any other VR stuff moving forward. Of course, the Apple thing came out and I said, Apple's got one. I watched the press release. I looked at the technology behind it and said, you know what, I'm intrigued. You know, I want to try this. And really the biggest intrigue for me is I feel like technology is trending this way. I really feel that we are putting ourselves inevitably into the matrix, and this is a major step closer to that. And I want to know what's going on and why people are going to adopt these products. So I needed to really try it out for myself.
Can I present to you
Why
my
we're not putting?
theory on technological adoption?
Sure.
All right. So I consider this to be a fundamental law of technological adoption. Whenever a new technology comes out, it needs to do one of two things, and preferably both. If it does both, it's guaranteed to be a hit. But it needs to do at least one of these two things. Number one, it needs to take an existing technology and greatly reduce its cost.
Okay.
The other thing that it needs to do is it needs to do something that no other technology is doing. Like it needs to and do it in such a way that increases efficiency or convenience for the user. It takes a task and makes that task simpler or faster or more efficient or more fun.
So,
You need
so
to. So an example would be like, I mean, if you can think about like cell phones. So like originally everybody had landlines, and then cell phones were really really expensive, so they didn't have mass adoption. But cell phones at this point have replaced landlines effectively. Almost nobody has landlines. Why? Because they take what we used to have a landline for and they make it more convenient. And as technology has grown, cell phones have replaced a lot of other things. Like a lot of people
well,
that
I
used to
think
use a
that
computer for email now use their cell phone.
I think
Used to
the
use like
greater point that you're making is initially when cell phones came out, they were big, bulky, didn't work that well, and were very expensive. At
so
a
they didn't
certain
see mass
point,
adoption.
as the price came down and the functionality was more precise and better, uh, the adoption rate went up, and at a certain point, the scales tipped. Now that's where I'm on with this thing. I said I'm thinking that these products are going to keep coming out, and there has to be some demand for them. I don't understand. And
Here's the issue. You
what I
haven't
want to know,
addressed this though,
hang on, just
because
hear me out. What I want to know is we can circle back. I just want to know where this is going and why it's going there, because I really think there's a good chance we're going to put ourselves back into the matrix. But go ahead. Go ahead.
all right. So you already kind of asked the question that I'm going to ask of the where is this going to go, and the issue that I have is what is VR doing that increases convenience or efficiency or any of those other key metrics? What products is VR seeking to displace and replace with itself as a better option?
Okay, so let me get there. So again, I wasn't for this thing. I really I don't even use it very much, because I'm still trying to get over kind of the goofiness factor of wearing it around. Um, but the question is like, really, what does it do? Right? It's this new product. There's nothing really else in its class. I mean, you used to tell me about this HP one. Meta has one, but there's not a lot of products in its class. Right? It would be like if there was only two car manufacturers and you didn't have a car, you'd be like, I better
No,
check
but
out one of these
again, you're
cars.
not answering the
I'm
question that
getting
I
there.
have.
I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
No, but I want you to answer it.
Well, I want to build up to what it's changing. So what basically what it's making easier, what it's making easier. And the moment that I put this thing on my face and I realized, oh my God, it doesn't feel like I'm wearing this thing. And I don't feel like I'm in VR. I don't feel like I'm in a different land. It hit
Okay.
me in that
So
moment.
that solves one of the problems because I'll admit even like my HP device, which I think is pretty good, like it's still there's bulk to it and like you feel it. And like after a certain amount of time, like you get sick of having it on your head.
Yeah, I have not had this. I don't think I've had this thing on my face for more than 40 minutes or so. But even at that point, at no point were my eyes getting tired. Well, I heard somebody report that it was heavy on their face. It's not very. They must have a very light head or
Well,
something.
I mean, they just haven't tried other like VR tech because other VR tech is heavier. But
But
all right,
also, I'm thinking
so the
maybe
Apple
they have.
product solves one of the qualms that I have with VR, which is that it's inconvenient to wear, and I think that Apple is still like that's still a problem for Apple. It's just that they've improved on what was out there before and made it less of a problem. But you
So
still haven't answered my question of what is the application, what are the gains by using VR over using something else like just interact, like if you need to do a task that you would have normally done on your cell phone or on a computer, what
well, we're not. We're
advantage
not.
does VR
We're
provide?
not. We're not fully there yet. We're not 100% there yet. What I'm saying is, I want to. I want to see this crucial step in how we are going there. It's not going to. This
No, but I'm
product is
asking
not
you,
going to
what
have.
are the like, I'm asking you, make VR technology perfect. What does it do?
Well,
What are you doing in VR that you wouldn't otherwise do?
okay. First off, with this product, it doesn't feel like you're in VR. It feels like you're here. Okay, I could be having this conversation
You're still
with
not
this.
answering my question.
Let me get there. Okay, with this thing on my face, I wouldn't realize it was there, except I would obviously see my own image here with this thing on my face. The difference is that I have total functionality where I can just pull up anything in front of me. I
To
can
do
pull
what?
up, Google something, and I don't have to like kind of do one of these, do one of these, and really even look that distracted. Um, it's you just have all the functionality of a computer on your face. So it literally feels like you are in the Matrix, where you can just pull up YouTube, you can pull up a Google window, you can do all these things, and you can get deeper. I'm getting ahead of myself here because I'm trying to answer your question. You can get deeper into VR. Basically, you can create. It comes preloaded with like 6 or 7 different environments,
No, I
where
get that, but like you're still not answering my question.
repeat the question.
What task or what thing that we do right now will be improved either in efficiency
Okay,
or
I'll,
experience
I'll give you
by
one. I'll give you
VR?
one thing. I'll give you one thing right now. So you have this thing on. You don't realize you're wearing it. Okay. Now you just. I said, why don't you bring yours on the plane? And you said, oh, my laptop doesn't have the functionality. And I was thinking, why do you need your laptop? Now this machine. And I'm trying to speak of all VR headsets, but I only really know this one. Now, this machine, you don't need to have a phone with you. You don't need to have a laptop or a computer. So
I get
basically,
that.
point being, what is it replacing? What is it doing? Nothing else is doing. It has the full functionality of a desktop computer. Maybe not the full functionality, but it has. I mean, you can get Microsoft Word on this thing. You can get PowerPoint on this thing. It has incredible amount of functionality, and it's just
Yeah,
on
so
your
hang on.
face.
I've got some comments. So Kevin is saying like some use cases for VR would be like video games where you actually move around instead of using a joystick. Various educational applications, like Dungeons and Dragons or choose your own adventure movies, which I mean, a lot of video games are basically choose your own adventure movies. And I would agree with Kevin that those are potential use cases, but I still think that those are relatively niche applications, and my argument will continue to be that VR is not useless. Like VR will always have some use, but VR is always going to be something of a novelty where it can
But
be fun to use
you're
in
using
certain things,
you're
whereas
using
like
this.
I
Listen,
don't see VR displacing anything. Cell
well,
phones
you're
completely
okay.
displaced a whole
I,
bunch of
I,
crap.
I'll give you a couple examples. One, you're using the word always, and what I'm
Yeah.
saying is this was when I put this thing on my face, I was like, oh shit, I don't realize I have anything on my face, and I can make calls from this device. I can use the web browser. I can play music. I can watch videos. It's all just there, and you're not pulling your phone out. You're not using a computer. As long as you have Wi-Fi connectivity, you can access all this stuff. Here's the issue: you said cell phones changed this thing. Um, do you remember probably in the early 2000s, mid 2000s, when people started speaking on headsets and earbuds, and
Hmm.
you'd be in the bank and somebody would be like talking, and you'd like be like, what? And they'd be like,
Yeah, it
"No,
was
no, on the
annoying.
phone,"
It's rude
and
to
you,
do
and
that.
you'd be like, oh man, it sounds like these people are psychopaths. They're obviously fucking crazy, and they're just having these conversations. But very quickly, it was like 5 to 8 months later, everybody was just totally okay with it. And now you just have people walking down the street all day long talking to themselves. Obviously, they're on the phone with someone, but
to an
from
outside observer, they're
an
having a
outside observer,
conversation.
yeah, they're literally talking to themselves. But for a while, everybody would be like, "Yo, what the fuck are you doing?" Now, now this to me feels very similar to that, except that this thing on your face looks more like ski goggles versus having an ear pod in your whatever, an earbud in your ear, which I also at the time thought, you guys think you on fucking Star Trek? Like
I
it's not,
get
you're
it.
not cool.
I'm still saying, what is this doing vastly better than the technology that we currently have? And I'm not seeing it.
Well, so because you're saying vastly better. It's not
Right,
doing.
because
It's
that's what
not.
like in order
It's
for technology to completely wipe out whatever was there before it, it needs to do a much better job than whatever it was before. Landlines sucked. Why? Because you had to be at a specific spot to use the phone.
okay.
Cell
Well, I'll
phones,
tell you.
you can
I'll
have
tell
them
you what
wherever
it's
you are.
doing. This particular product, outside of all the other VR headsets, what it's doing vastly better is that when you use this thing, you don't realize that you're using it. Okay,
And I'm
that's
saying I
that's
don't
that's a
care. I'm
major.
saying take a perfect version of VR.
Well, listen. What I'm saying is
What is it doing
we're
that we
we're
can't
not
already do?
we're not there yet. I'm telling you.
I
What I'm
know, but I
defending.
want you
I'm
to
defending
engage with my
this.
hypothetical of give me I'll give you a perfect set of VR glasses. Let's say it's a pair of
So
sunglasses that
here's
weigh
well
as much as
here's
sunglasses.
where this goes. Here's where this goes, and that's why I'm trying to progressively get there. You're just asking for like the final point. Where this goes is that you have a pair of glasses or contact lenses, and they have some contact lenses. Obviously, we're not there technologically to be at the level that this thing is, but if you can get something that functionally is at this level, but isn't a big object that's in front of your face, that from the third party perspective is like, why are you wearing ski goggles? Why do you think you're in Star Trek? You have
Oh,
this goofy earpiece on. If you can make it look natural, this will have, and not, I'm sure it doesn't even need to be that natural. Okay. But you will have incredible, even at a high price point, these things will sell like crazy because really the people that are walking around with them now, I think are just showing them off and just kind of weirdos. But
yeah.
even if they didn't want to be show offs, they just wanted to use it for the functionality, they still look like
Yeah, they'd
goofballs.
still be weirdos.
They'd still look like goofballs. When you can take that aspect away from the Apple headset, that's when it's a total game changer. And that's
So,
when we get to the level
hold on,
that
let
you
me
were
ask you
talking
this.
about.
Let's imagine that there's an invention where like it's basically an implant into your eye,
Mm-hmm.
right? I still don't see what it is displacing.
Oh, it's displacing all of the physical hardware that you carry around with you. I don't have to be sitting at a computer to be having this conversation. I don't need to pull out my cell phone to have this conversation. It's just all there. And that's my point is that when you put this thing on, you don't realize that you're in an environment. And what's crazy to me is that you're not actually seeing through the glass. They have a whole bunch of cameras built into it. So you're actually seeing a video of what's happening in front of you. You're not seeing what's happening in front of you. And the only time that to me this didn't feel natural is when eating or drinking because it's off by just maybe half a centimeter. And it kind of throws things off when you're trying to put things in your mouth. But literally, the second bite or the second sip of whatever you're drinking, you're just like, oh, okay, I've adjusted. I'm good to go. You
I'm
follow
thinking
me?
about something completely different.
Oh, okay. Well,
A long time
Rosh is.
ago,
Oh,
the,
go ahead.
there was a famous rant, um, uh, a video game that I played a while back. Like a new set of cards came out for the game, and there was a guy going through and talking about the various cards.
Okay, so you played a video game that came out with collectible edition playing cards.
Yes,
Okay.
and there was a guy talking about like the new cards that came out, and he was talking about like people that like to play a certain type of deck, and he was talking about how stupid that deck was, and he's like, I don't want you like people that play this deck. I don't want you to die. Whoa, that would be way too much. Like, I just want something like you know what? Like, I want you to just like no longer have a dominant hand. Like If you're right-handed and you can't use your left, now you've just got two left hands. Like you're you're brushing your teeth in the morning, like you miss and it goes up your nose, that stings. Like you're eating your cereal and like you keep on spilling it all over your lap. Like I just hope you have two left hands for the rest of your life.
Listen, that I I don't like the people that are walking around the streets wearing these things. I think they're trying to look for attention. But I will tell you, when you're using this thing, it doesn't feel like you're using it. And that's what's mind-blowing to me. That to me is the second that I put this thing on my face was the game changer. It was the holy shit moment. I put it on my face and my mind was blown. Now, what I was saying a couple of minutes ago about different environments, it comes preloaded with 5, 6, 7 environments. And did we talk about this last week when I said I was
No,
laying
but
down on my back?
I don't really care about talking about like the various like little things that it can do. I'm looking at a broader topic here, which is what is VR doing that we don't already do, but more conveniently without VR.
Okay. Well, the point is it's giving you the functionality that you have in devices that you spend a lot of days sitting in front of, and it's just at your fingertips anywhere that you go. So
How do you type in VR?
you look at the letters on the keyboard.
That seems annoying.
It's slower than I would hope, but faster than I would have expected.
Because like again, you need to be able to do something better than you already
Well,
can right now. And I
listen,
can type pretty damn fast.
but it also has autocorrect and is just like when your keyboard, if you type something wrong, it changes it into the right word. And it has spoken word to text. So
Yeah, which means that like
you can
you're
text
not.
just
How are
as
you
fast
like?
as you can speak.
Again, like if I wanted to do if I'm wearing VR goggles and I wanted to actually do some work, let's imagine I'm responding to emails or I'm writing up a report or something like that. How is using VR better than me sitting in front of a computer with a keyboard? Because I'm either going to have to like basically mimic having a seizure to type, or I'm going to
Yep.
have to dictate
So
to
here's
like
the
verbally
flaw.
dictate the
Here
entire report. And like a lot of report writing, like you're going back and forth between sentences and changing stuff and moving stuff around. And like,
here's the
I just
flaw
don't
in your
see how
question.
VR makes that easier.
Here's the flaw in your question. Okay. How is it better and how does VR make it easier? What I am telling you is it doesn't, but I am surprised, blown away, in fact, at how close it comes, and in some cases is slightly better. So I would say, how is it better than you sitting on your computer? I would say overall, it's the same, except you don't have to be sitting at your desk to do it. You could be out eating breakfast. You could be in your backyard.
Right.
You
But
could
like,
literally be playing pool,
no,
okay,
I get that. What
and
I'm saying is
doing
like
it.
for certain things, like like again, assuming like the technology is there where like wearing the thing isn't that big of a deal, like being able to just like watch videos whenever you want having the headset on, I get that, like that's
Well,
nice. And being
listen,
able
you're
to like
also
listen to music whenever you want, like I get that, that's nice. Like I already can kind of do that, like not the videos thing, but like the music I can do with my phone. But there
it
like
puts all
to
of these things into one.
yeah,
Okay. And the
I,
thing
I
is,
still think it
as somebody who
qualifies as a
uses,
novelty.
as someone, it is a novelty right now,
Okay.
but as someone who uses their phone,
Novelties don't gain widespread adoption. Cell
as
phones aren't a novelty. PCs aren't a novelty. Cars aren't a novelty.
okay, but point is for a little while they were, okay, for a little while they were, for a little while the internet was, and all of a sudden the scales, the weight on the scales changed,
Right,
and they took over big time.
but
Now,
I
what I'm
don't see what
telling,
VR is seeking to replace. Cars replaced fucking horses. Like
okay, well, well, to a degree, will replace cars. When you can do a real estate tour by just putting on your home headset, and instead of having to drive to a property and see it, right? Or maybe it's dark outside and
um
you
I can
can't.
tell you that I would never like I don't care if how good the technology is, I would never trust a VR tour for something I'm seeking to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on. Like if you're willing to buy a property having seen it on a VR tour, and let's just imagine that the VR technology is perfect. you're still an idiot for making a purchase without physically stepping foot in the place that you're buying.
You would be surprised the number of transactions that happen based on video and 3D walkthroughs.
Right, and I would not be surprised that the 100% of those people are idiots.
So, but
Because
look,
it's not just the appearance, it's the smell. You like
yeah, sure, but generally, if it's a nice, crisp, clean, new-looking place, you're
right,
not
but
too worried.
I want to know what the neighborhood smells like. I want to see like how does the yard actually feel under my feet. I want to see
And
cuz it's
maybe
very
that's you, but
easy.
listen,
Oh, it's very
I
easy
said
to
this for a
paint
long
over
time.
cracks in a wall that you could
Listen, okay, but hear me out. I said this a while ago about buying clothes online. It would surprise me that somebody would just buy clothes online without trying them on. Now, almost all the clothes I buy are online. Okay. And then I was like, I don't see how that's going to happen for food, right? Like people are still going to want to go to the grocery store to like look at the grapes and look at the meat before they buy it. Guess what? I haven't been to a grocery store since sometime in the fall of last year. I just order the groceries online.
Kevin
So
says VR can replace movie theaters, video game consoles, school field trips, hell, even strip clubs. And I think,
especially if those strip clubs have a no touch policy.
well, yeah.
They may not replace the smell of the strip club, though. I know you have an issue with
Well,
the
actually,
smell.
that's probably an area where the VR improves that existing technology. But
So, listen, I want to add one other thing about this, and then I want to move on because I don't. Our goal was not to talk about this the whole podcast. I want to respect that. I was talking a little while ago about environment. So I use this thing not feeling like I was in VR. Okay, not
Okay.
feeling like I wasn't here. So the other night I had done a lot. I did a lot of shoveling. It was a couple weeks ago. We got a lot of snow. I went out and shoveled, and then it was heavy wet snow because it was like above freezing, and we had 9 inches of it. And I was going out at the end of the day. It was getting hard and icy because it was cooling back off. I was miserable. My back was broken. I put this thing on. I laid down on my back on the floor here in the office. I just looked up and I put the headset on. I put some nice kind of mood music on YouTube, and it's cool because you can put the music on. You put the YouTube window over here, and you can hear the sound coming from here. If I move it in front of me, you can hear it kind of equal between both sides. You can put it behind you. It's really crazy. Now, I experimented with these environments. So one was like some mountain or something like that. I turned this on, and you could increase basically what's the word I'm looking for? They call it the volume, but it's like whether or not you can see the world around you or whether you're only in the VR realm.
So transparency.
Yeah, transparency. That's a better word. So what I did, because I was just laying on my back, I turned it all the way up. So all I could see was in that environment. Now, all I was doing was looking up in the stars, right? I was on my back looking up, and I was looking at the stars. Now I decided to sit up, and I was going to like take this thing off and go get a glass of water or something. I probably wasn't getting water. I was probably getting scotch. Sat up, and I realized, oh shit. I looked around. I said, there's some rocks around me. And I looked back behind me, and I said, oh my God, I'm on a mountain. The mountain goes up. I'm on like a little cliff. And I leaned forward, and I said, oh shit, it goes down.
No, I get that.
And
this
then
is all you're describing.
This may not be new to you.
Well-designed novelty.
This may not be new to you. Okay, if this was the only feature, it would be a novelty. Either way, I'm letting you know, and whoever else is listening, that I then stood up. I looked over the ledge, and I said, "Holy fuck!" Like I'm literally on a mountain. I had to turn it down because I felt like I was like about to fall.
No, I get it, and that
from this
actually makes me
mountain.
think like there could actually be use cases for
So,
like therapy with these things
well,
because you can.
your spider therapy.
Well, absolutely not. I would, but I've long since decided that I would rather live with my arachnophobia than go through any therapy to confront it. That's a choice I've made.
All right. That's either way. And listen, you again, you keep saying, how is this better? It's not better. But what
I'm
I'm
not saying it
saying
has zero use
is
cases.
that my mind was blown about how good this thing is. And I haven't worn it since in 2 weeks. I mean, I don't even spend that much time on the computer at home. I need to spend more time. But
My
I can
point is
listen,
not
I
that
can
it's going to
edit.
be
I
crap.
can I'll give you another one. I'm editing video on the screen. I think it's 24 inches. The new iMacs are 24 inches. Now I can kind of zoom in and pinch a little bit on the screen here. Now I can put that thing on. I can put the thing on. I can take this screen. You can connect it to your desktop as well and use the desktop. But what I did was I connected it. I took the screen and I did this with it. So basically now I'm editing video. The screen is right in front of me. I can zoom in super close. I can see all those thumbnails and images super, super tight, super close up, and edit with that much more precision. I can see all the sound variations in the sound. It's just cool to be able to zoom. I can't make my computer screen any bigger. I can zoom in. I can put my face closer to the computer screen, but being able to just go and just make it bigger is a pretty cool feature.
I'm not saying that there's zero use cases for this. What I'm saying is that I don't see widespread technological adoption of VR because I'm not seeing where it displaces existing solutions that we already have.
I'll give you one, and I really want to get out of this, but I'll give you one more I just thought of because we were talking about the plane idea. So you can connect it directly to your computer. So when I connect it to the computer, I'm still using the keyboard, and I can see the keyboard. I'm still using the mouse, and I see the screen. Now I can make the screen bigger. Okay, but guess what?
Chicken butt.
I'm in the environment where I can see the screen, see my computer, what happens is my screen goes black. So I could be sitting on a plane using my laptop, having the full functionality of the laptop computer.
With
And again,
privacy.
But that's the privacy, exactly.
Yeah. So now we come back to the strip clubs.
So yeah, who knows what you're doing on that airplane, right? Who knows what you're doing on the airplane?
I think people will figure out pretty soon.
Well, if they're watching you. So we're low on time now. But listen, it's cool. I'll let you try it when you're up here. Your mind will be equally as blown. You won't like it. I don't like that it's as cool as it is. I don't like that. And it also is very expensive. So it's not.
I'm less concerned about the cost because if we know anything about technology, it's that over time the price of things comes down usually quite rapidly. So listen, the cost I care less about.
But that's what's so clear to me is as the cost comes down and as these things get better, these are going to be everywhere. And it's so clear to me after using it that there's nothing like this. And it is so good at what it does that it's so clear to me that this is going to hit mass adoption and that apps and programs that are designed specifically for these things are going to get better. And we're going to have a huge new future market that we didn't think about 3 or 4 years ago. We're not thinking about it now is also my point. We're not thinking about it now.
So we'll see who's right in 5 years because your prediction is that this thing's going to be huge. My prediction is that this thing is going to be like 3D movies and 3D TVs from 10 years ago.
Yeah. And for anybody who knows anything about going to I hated going to those 3D theaters, especially ones I think you have to wear the glasses.
Yeah.
I hated those glasses.
Right. So my point is that like 10 years ago, everything was, 3D TVs, 3D movies. It's the future. Everybody wants these. And today, I bet if you walked into Best Buy, you probably couldn't buy a 3D TV if you asked.
This is very much a 3D TV.
I understand that. What I'm saying is that I don't think that it is going to catch on in the way that you think it will, because I just don't think that there's the demand for it. That I don't think that it's replacing things in a manner that is better enough to justify the inconvenience and the cost of having to wear the goggles and spend the money.
To me, yeah, that's the two things. Having to wear this thing strapped to your face, even though it doesn't bother you, don't realize you're wearing it.
If you could have like an implant into your eye that you could just kind of like turn on and off, like maybe, but we're so far away from that.
And then also the cost. So those are the two prohibitive factors right now for it reaching mass adoption. But I'm telling you, as the technology gets more wearable and slimmer and sleeker, and as the price comes down, it's a no-brainer. Where this is going.
I still think it's going to be a fun novelty that has legitimate use cases, but not enough to warrant widespread adoption. Okay. And you can quote me on that, and we'll see if I'm right in 5 years.
I will, because we're going to talk about the upcoming election in a minute too, and we've made some predictions, and all this stuff is online. So we say dumb shit and it sticks. Whether we like it or not. So, bar trivia question from last week. Miriam has 4 oranges and 3 lemons she bought for 90 cents. Miriam went to the store the next day. She bought 3 oranges and 4 lemons for 85 cents. How much is each lemon? How much is each orange? Did you figure this one out?
I did, and then like I had the answer written down, and then it went away. It's a simultaneous equation. It's like 3x plus 4y equals 80, and 4x plus 3y equals 85, or something like that. You just run the simultaneous equation.
Yeah, that's what you have to do. I just did a similar one on. I follow this engineering Twitter page, and I always try to partake in their trivia questions, which are generally more difficult than this one. But I surprised myself. I figured it out yesterday. Answer is oranges 15 cents, lemons 10 cents. Miriam has 4 oranges, 3 lemons for 90 cents. So it's 4 oranges at 15 cents and 3 lemons at 10 cents. Or 3 oranges at 85, 3 oranges at 15 cents each, 4 lemons at 10 cents each, totaling 85. So yeah, you have 2 simultaneous equations. You just break them down.
Yeah, I just plugged it into the Wolfram Alpha because I was too lazy to do it by hand.
Well, there you go. I actually forgot the question from last week and just Googled Miriam has 4 oranges, 3 lemons, and I got the whole rest of the question. I think I just Googled Miriam has oranges, and then I got the whole question and the answer.
All right, so election time.
Election time. All right, here
I'm
we go.
going to make my prediction right now.
All right.
So, looking at Vegas odds and various political futures, right now, it's really, really close in terms of what the predicted outcome is. Like roughly 51 to 49 in favor of the GOP winning the election. Now, here's why I think that that's wrong, and I think that Biden is going to win.
And you've said this for several episodes now. You think Biden is going to win. Now, I don't.
One of them is just blind fucking hope. But I'll give you an example. This is real life. This weekend, I had a friend from my accounting days come over and we were playing some pool.
This sounds like a very exciting friend.
And we were talking about politics a little bit. And I talked about how despicable I think Trump is. And she said that she was a Trump voter in 2016.
Just for the record, James is living in South Carolina.
Yeah, she said that she was a Trump voter in 2016, but she could not vote for him today. And I asked her why. And she said, because of how he has behaved, like specifically in like the last year to 2 years of his presidency, and how he has behaved after leaving office. She said, I was willing to give him a shot. I thought that he had some interesting things to say during the 2016 election. I wanted to give him a shot. And I even liked like the first year or two of his administration, but things fell apart. And since he's left office, he's proven that he really should not be reelected. And I think that her experience is not unique. I think there's a lot of people that in 2016 were willing to look at Trump and be like, here's someone who's different, who speaks in a way that I can identify with, and I want to shake things up and kind of give a middle finger to kind of the political establishment in this country and elect a complete outsider.
And you feel like those people were turned off and now they're going to vote for Biden?
I think that also in 2016, Trump was running against Hillary Clinton, and she was just not a likable candidate. And a lot of people stayed home because they didn't like either of them. And Trump was really good. And to this day, Trump is really good at motivating his base. He was better at it in 2016, I would argue. But I think after seeing how Trump has behaved in the past, I'm going to say 5 years, a lot of people have said, we don't want to do this again. And I think you're going to see a number of people that previously voted for Trump do one of two things. And I'm saying previously voted for Trump in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're going to see them do one of two things: either stay home or vote for Biden. I'm not saying all of them. I'm not even saying most of them. But I'm going to say enough of them are going to do it.
Let me ask you this. Did your friend say that she is going to vote for Biden this year, or she just said she's not going to vote for Trump?
I think she said she was going to vote for Biden, but I don't want to be held to that because I don't remember. I just remember her saying, I can no longer support Trump.
So here, I think there's a few factors. Okay, one, the people that like how Trump speaks, I don't think that that's changed. He continues to speak the same. He's no less, he's no more controversial than he was then. He's just as controversial. He still says dumb shit. Literally, right before he got elected, he was saying things like "grab him by the pussy." Okay, and you could make whatever you want out of that. Yeah, it's locker room talk, whatever. But he says dumb things now.
I think he's been saying dumber things as of recently, and like I've been seeing a lot of commentary talking about how like Trump is going through like age-related dementia degeneration and like mental degeneration in the language and his inability to pronounce words that didn't really exist 8 years ago.
I don't think that many people are that worried about him. And also, he was in office and in the news every day for 4 years. He has
I
stayed.
understand that,
He has
but
stayed. And listen,
let me pile on to my previous comment
he was
about
not
like
in the news saying great, wonderful, professional things. He was
no, he
usually in the
wasn't.
news saying dumb things, making fun of people with physical disabilities. If you were okay with that, I don't think. And we haven't even started talking about Biden. So before
No,
the right wing people start attacking me on what I'm saying about Trump, we'll get there with Biden. Trust me.
so here's the thing is I accept that there is going to be a certain percentage of Trump voters that it doesn't matter what he does, they will vote for him no matter what. I understand that, and I completely there's no arguing that. However, I think that there's a portion of the voters that might have voted for him in 2016, might have even voted for him in 2020, that have seen how he's acted in the last 4 years since leaving office, and especially his efforts to subvert the election in 2020, and said, I can no longer support this person. And let me also lay on in terms of the mental degeneration and onset of dementia, which is unproven. However, a lot of people, like a lot of mental health experts, are pointing to his behavior in the most recent like 3 months or so and saying like he's checking all the boxes of like the early stages of dementia, and that the election's 8 months away, and for dementia 8 months can be a very long time. You can see a
Well,
considerable slide in
we'll
eight
see,
months
especially if he participates in presidential elections, which he may
in
not.
debates.
Uh,
Yeah, he's participating
well,
in
he
the
may not
election.
participate in the election if the Democrats have their way. But
Oh, and I
uh,
also haven't mentioned, and this is really important actually, is he has 4 separate criminal trials that are all slated to happen at some point during this year. Now, there's considerable doubt about whether the federal election interference case is going to happen before the election because of the delays because of appeals in the Supreme Court. There's the federal the classified documents case. It's a federal case that has some doubts because the judge in Florida seems to be making favorable rulings for him. But there are also 2 state cases. There's the New York election interference case about him falsifying business records to hide payments made to Stormy Daniels, and there's the Georgia election interference case. Now, the New York case is going to be happening in like 2 weeks, and I don't know when the Georgia case is going to be
oh,
happening, but
all right.
there's a strong
Question.
possibility, very strong, that of one of those 4 cases, one of them is going to result in a criminal conviction for him.
Yeah, I think that's possible. I think that's a little dirty game by the Democrats, but it's not undue. It's just
I don't
that
think it's
the
dirty because
further
if he's
it
guilty, if he's not guilty, then he goes to trial and he wins, and he's like, "See, I'm innocent. The jury found me not
well,
guilty."
but I think the Democrats are really pushing these cases against him, and the reason they're doing so is he keeps pushing himself running for reelection. I think if he didn't push so hard to run for reelection, the Democrats wouldn't push so hard
I think
to keep him from running. And
I think he would be
I think
facing
rather
indictment
than just
no matter
beating him
what.
in the listen to me, I think rather than just beating him in the election, they actually believe that he may win the reelection. So they want to make him go away for good. And this is they think this is one of their only ways. It's their Hail Mary. But listen, so you got Trump, which you and I agree was a bad president and is an idiot. Okay. Maybe not an idiot, but
Nope.
like
That idiot's not strong enough of a word.
But he's not presidential. He says a lot of dumb shit. And the way that I look at it is, listen, if you're going to be the leader of the United States, I know that our standing has fallen over the last decade among the rest of the world. But really, if you're going to be the leader of the United States, like, you got to run a pretty tight game, right? Like, if you're going to play at the professional level in a lot of things, you need to be awesome. Okay. You don't just get to like play in the Olympics at whatever sport because like you really want to do it. You also have to be good at it. Now,
Trump
the thing
has
is,
one skill.
the presidency is a little bit different in the United States, being that you don't have to have that much experience, apparently,
No,
to
Trump
become
has
the president.
one skill, and it's an important skill, but it's only one skill.
Which is what? Charisma?
Charisma.
Yeah. So, but the issue is who he's up against. And I am blown away that the Democrats have decided to let Biden run, because I think that that's probably the reason why Trump will win the election in 2024, later in November. I think the reason that Trump may win is because he's running against Biden, and the economy is not doing well.
That's actually not true. The economy is under Biden has been doing really well.
Listen, I know a lot of people, okay? Most people are not happy with the economy. They're not happy with their income. They're not happy with the cost of living. They're not happy with the cost of
That may be
groceries
true, but by
and
the raw
gasoline.
numbers, the
It does,
economy is doing well.
okay, but people aren't looking up the raw numbers. They're looking at their checking and savings accounts.
Right, and that's
They're
on the
looking,
Democrats to sell. The
they're
Democrats need
looking,
to do a
okay,
better job
but they
of
may need
saying,
to do a
"Look at
better
the
job.
economy."
But I'm telling you why Biden may not be elected. Okay. Now, Biden, I have not. Now, listen, I listened to Trump speak a lot. I was much more finely tuned in with what was going on. I listened to every speech for the first 6 months that Trump gave, every speech that Cuomo gave, and every speech that de Blasio gave for the first 6 months during coronavirus. Because I had the freaking time.
Yep.
Now I don't pay as much attention to the news, but then I listened to every word that came out of Trump's mouth publicly. I watched January 6th happen. I watched him on camera. I watched him talk about, is there a way maybe we could inject the bleach into the body? He didn't tell people to drink.
Yeah.
He didn't tell people to drink detergent, but he did say, is there a way we could inject bleach into the body?
Yeah, like get sunlight into the body, like a bright
Something like
light.
that. Yeah. But I have also listened to Biden speak. Now, I know I give Biden a big benefit of the doubt because I know he has former stuttering issues, and he has mechanisms built into his speech to not stutter. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie The King's Speech, but when I listen to Biden speak, he does not sound very well put together. And then I listen to Kamala Harris speak, and there are many, many clips of her saying things that simply do not make sense either. So I can understand what Trump is saying. I disagree with it, but I can understand what he's saying. I listen to Biden, and not that one is better than the other. What I was talking about, somebody was saying, who are you going to vote for? I was like, listen, if you ask me what did I want to eat, cat shit or toenail clippings, I would say I'd rather not choose. I'll sit this one out.
Here's the choice that we're faced is we've got Biden, who is old. However, I think by and large, he has put together a team around him that are of younger people that are going to help make good decisions for the country. And Biden has 50 years of politics experience in terms of building relationships with people. And I think that, especially on the foreign policy side, Biden is respected by other world leaders. And I think that overall, you have somebody, even if Biden continues to be old, which he will.
We got a comment right here from Roger. They are both old.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Trump's only like 3 or 4 years younger than Biden. So like the age question.
You got TikTok comments saying the economy is not doing well by any metrics.
Well, I mean, you know what? Next episode, let me do a little bit of research, and I can prove that the economy is doing well under Biden. There's no dispute about that.
Well, when you force minimum wage up.
Yeah, but that's on Congress. That's not on Biden.
It's under his watch. That's
right, but he doesn't have control over Congress.
Listen, everybody's got to work together, man.
I understand that,
We
but
need a president.
you have to
we need
look
a
at
president
what are
that's
the
going to make
things
it happen.
within Biden's
I
power.
think they are both. I think they're
But
both bad
here,
options. We're
let me put it
almost
this way.
out of time here, so
Yeah. It's Biden is surrounding himself with people that are well educated and well experienced and are trying to do their best. We have seen from Trump's actions that he will hire people that have been loyal to him but have no idea what they're doing. See Jared and Ivanka running the White House. Like they had no political experience whatsoever, and like Trump has demonstrably used the White House for two things: to insulate himself from any potential criminal prosecutions and to enrich himself by having governments use his properties and enrich his family by using the government connections to leverage them into business deals for his family.
all right,
Biden's not enriching himself off the presidency.
Well, you got
You
the
have one
whole
person.
issue. You got the whole issue with the sun. But listen, I just because we didn't hit most of the
The son's
topics we
never
wanted
worked
to,
in government.
doesn't matter.
It does.
Listen, we're not going to be able to flush all this out today. But I just want to solidify your prediction. You think that Trump is going to win, but
No.
Biden will win the popular vote.
No, I actually think that Biden's going to win both. I think it's it's going to be a nail biter, but I think in the end, there's going to be enough people like my friend from accounting who formerly supported Trump for whatever reason and have come around to realize that this person is wholly unfit for office through virtue of his own actions.
I disagree with you. But we're out of time. So I want to thank those people who joined us today. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We will see you next time. Adios.
All right, what do you think? Do you agree more with myself or you agree with James that this is really not going to be something, never going to be something? What do you think? Let me know in the comments, and I will see you next time.
I like PBR. I just got priced out of it.